Hello everyone, I'm Alfian and today we are going to solve the Hackerrank challenge on the problem solving session called the Designer PDF Viewer. When a contiguous block of text is selected in a PDF viewer, the selection is highlighted with a blue rectangle. In this PDF viewer, each word is highlighted independently. For example, we have the highlighted text of ABC, D, E, F, and G, H, and I. There is a list of 26 character heights aligned by index to their letters. For example, A is at index 0 and G is at index 25. There will also be a string. Using the letter heights given, determine the area of the rectangle highlight in millimeter square, assuming all letters are 1 millimeter wide. And we have the height map of every character. This is the A, B, C, and up to the point to the Z, which is the last letter, with the height of 5. And I can assume that this height map of every letter is determined by the font size or the font selection. And we have the word with the space for the prefix, and then the next word is torn, which is the T, O, R, and N. The heights are T, which is the height of 2. We have the 2 right here, index 20, I believe. And we have 0, which is 1. It's O, height of 1, which is around this height map. And R, which is also 1. And the last one, which is N, is also the height of 1. The tallest letter is 2 millimeter high, and there are 4 letters, which is the T right here. And since we are using the JavaScript or TypeScript, if you want to use something else other than JavaScript or TypeScript, then you can go ahead. I encourage you to do so. And then we can determine which one has the highest or the tallest of them all. Let's say the tallest one, which is the T right here, from the height map of the character heights list from A to Z. Then of course we take the T as the tallest one. And since there are 4 letters, the highlighted area will be 2 multiplied by 4, which is T, O, R, and N. And then the height or the area of the highlighted text is 8 millimeter square. So the answer is 8. And the function description says complete the designer PDF viewer function in the editor below. And we have integer of 26 with the index 26, which is the height of each letter, like I described earlier. And the string word of the parameter word is in the form of a string. So let's find our function that we need to work here. We have the function called the design PDF viewer, and the age parameter, which is the number array, and the word parameter, which is the second parameter, is in the form of string. Then the expected output of the designer PDF viewer is in a form of integer and returns the size of the highlighted area. The input format is the first line contains 26 space-separated integers describing the respective heights of each consecutive lowercase English letter, which is ASC, II with the A to Z. And the second line contains the single word consisting of lowercase English alphabetic letters. So to convert this from the ASCII code, then we don't have to convert to lowercase first because it is already lowercase, and it's also described in the constraint is an English lowercase letter. And the word parameter contains no more than 10 letters. And we have ABC right here. The A takes 1 height, and the B takes 3 height of the units, and the C takes 1 height. And then the sample output 0 is 9. Why is it 9? It's because 3 is the tallest one, which is the B, and then there are 3 characters. Each one of them is 1 millimeter width or 1 millimeter wide. So 3 times 3 is equals to 9. Okay, so let's solve this. Without further ado, we can first define our console.log of the age of what we are trying to work here, and the next one we can simply console.log to see what is contained in the parameter and the expected output. Since we are testing now, then of course we can return 0 as the placeholder integer. So let's run this to see what is it about. And we have the array of numbers or integers, and the second one, which is the word, is ABC. And what about the test case one? It is the same thing but with different height map of the font use of every character. We have Z, A, B, and A. So let's iterate our code for using the for loop. Let I, since we are working on TypeScript, equals 0, then we can simply use the traditional for loop as long as I is below the word.length, which is the length of the word. Let's say if ZABA, which has the length of 4, then of course word.length takes a value of 4, then I++, and then we can simply use the console.log, iterates over the word string, and we can use the element or the index pointer using the I from the for loop. So let's run this again to see if it iterates correctly. Yep, we have A, B, and C on every line. So we off to a good start right here. And for the next one, we need something to convert our word into the ASCII codes, so we can define which index of every alphabet or every letter. Let's say A right here is pointing to the index 0, and B right here is pointing to the index 1, which is the 3 right here from the edge of the number array. Then how do we do this? If we look over the documentation of the MDN docs, we have the char.CodeAt method, and a method of string values returns an integer between 0 and 65535, representing the UTF-16 code unit at the given index. So let's run the code from the example. We have the sentence of the string, and for the next one we have the index of 4. So for the index of 4, we are pointing around the Q right here. So let me tap this, and for the first one, index 0, we are pointing to the uppercase T, and then for the index 1 we are pointing to the lowercase h. For the index number 2 we are pointing to the lowercase e, and for the index 3 we are pointing to the space, and for the index 4 we are pointing to the lowercase q. And the character code sentence.charCodeAt, send the method charCodeAt with the index, takes the index right here, and it is pointing to the q. Q is equals to character code of 113. What about we are pointing the index of 0, which is the uppercase T? So the T, as we know that the T is equals to 84. If you already notice this, then good for you. So what about we are pointing index 0, but for the first letter, which is A, from the sentence string. So let's run this. We have character code of 97, and we have the letter A right here. What about the letter Z? Letter Z, and run. We have Z character, which is 122. What about letter lowercase 3? Lowercase t is 116, which is different than the uppercase T, which is 84. So as we already know this, that the lowercase a is character code, has the character code of 97. So we already got the idea that we can convert the word using the word right here, since it is already described as word, since it's already pointing to the index with the using the square brackets of the I right here to point the index directly. Then we can simply pass in, delete the word, delete the square brackets, and then using the dot, using the char.CodeAt method that takes the parameter of the current index that we are trying to iterate. So let's run this, and there you have it. We have the A, which is pointing to the char code of 97, and for the rest of the B and C is gradually increases by 1 since they are on the neighboring character code. What about the z, which is 122 that we already pointed from the MTN documentation? What about the a? It is still 97. Okay, so we off to a good start. Then of course we can use the console.log right here. We can use this ladder. Let's copy this part, and then we can create another console.log of the word char.codeAt, and then we use the minus sign or the subtracted by 97 based on the char.codeAt of the a letter. So let's run this, and yes, we got the 0, and we already point out the index of the height map right here from the height map. On every letter we have z right here, which is the index 25. So let's continue our implementation. Let's comment this out and delete this part. Then we can simply console.log again, console.log word char.codeAt of the I, and then minus 97, and then we can use this, wrap this inside the square brackets, and we define use the h parameter of the number array, and then we can use the set index from the converted ASCII codes to define the letter from the height map of the h number array. So let's run this, and we have the height, which is the a height of 1 with b height of 3 and the c with height of 1. So okay, so this is perfect. And how do we define the maximum, the tallest one from all of the iterations that are here? It is fairly simple. We can simply declare let called the tallest letter, and for the initial value of the variable, which is 0, then we can simply use this. Let's copy this and comment this out, and then we can define our current letter height, and then we can define the from the previous operation with the h that takes the index from the operation of the word char.codeAt of I, and converting them from the ASCII code to the index of the h index on each letter. So don't forget to define the constant variable of the current letter height. And for the next one, we can simply convert this using the tallest letter equals using the Math.max method. And for the first parameter, we can take the tallest letter, and for the second parameter, we can take the current letter height. What does the Math.max do? So it is comparing on each of the every parameter inside the method right here of the Math.max to see which one has the highest value from all of the parameters inside the max method. So let's say if the tallest letter is the highest one, of course we are returning the tallest letter value into our tallest letter variable in other words to stay as it is. What about if the current letter height is the highest one, then the current tallest letter of the variable right here, then of course we are returning this one instead of this one. We are returning this current letter height to our tallest letter variable. So how do we use this aside from using Math.max? It is fairly simple. We can use a traditional approach by using the if check. If the tallest letter is below the current letter height, if it is, then of course we are assigning the tallest letter, since the tallest letter variable we already defined as the let data type or the let variable, then of course we are assign the current letter height to our current tallest letter, and that way we are only returning the tallest one from all of the word iteration, and then we can simply return our tallest letter. And don't forget to calculate the width of each of the character based on the number of the character of the ABC right here. Since ABC has every character or every letter has the width of fixed width of 1 millimeter, then of course we can use the word dot length to sum the tallest letter with the length of the word length, so we can get the length in a form of millimeter square. And then we can use the tallest letter times the word parameter dot length. And since ABC has the length of 3 and times the tallest letter, which is the 3 again, then of course since the tallest letter is B, then of course the B is 3 and tallest letter is multiplied by the length of the ABC, which is also 3. Then of course we can get the 9 as our answer. So let's run this code to see if it works. Let's submit this. Okay, so that's about it. I hope you understand my explanation. If you still don't understand, you can ask me in the comment section. Or if you have any better solutions regarding this challenge, tell us what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you have a great day and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.